Hi guys, welcome back to Marie's Kawaii World. Today I'm coming to you straight from paradise. I'm at the Dreams Playa Mujeres resort in Cancun. So let me show you around this gorgeous property. Here's the entryway. While my husband checked in, we waited at the lobby and they gave us some hand towels. And then we waited for about 15 to 20 minutes and then someone came and brought us to the preferred lounge. So we did pay extra for preferred club access, and I thought it was really nice to have. You have access to this lounge which has drinks and snacks throughout the day, and there's also a bathroom in here which is really conveniently located because it's right in the middle of where all the pools are, and there's not really a bathroom that you could use when you're going to the pool, so it was nice to have this available. You also have access to the lazy river, which is just a river that you can ride down on a tube, but it's kind of nice because it's less crowded than the other pools and it usually has chairs available. You also get a champagne breakfast that's served in your room. Room service. You have fruit plates, huevos rancheros, 2 eggs, French toast, dry toast, and we have some pastries. You also get some extra amenities in your room, as well as this lovely beach tote. And you can reserve a cabana instead of just having to sit at the beach chairs. So now it's time for a room tour. As you can see, the room was very spacious and had this nice teal decor. Overall, I thought it was pretty clean and they did a good job with housekeeping, and it was pretty modern. Ooh, we have a really nice view.
You do?
Yeah. Oh, it's really nice.
Whoa, there's a couch right there.
Ooh, it's nice. A little incense here. A beach table. We have Pharmacopoeia body lotion. Shoe cap. There's this mosquito repellent. Uh-oh. Sunscreen. Comes with sunscreen, nice. And then here's the shower. Ooh, it's pretty spacious.
Hi. Hi.
Careful not to smash your fingers. Okay. Yeah. Waters, drinks, coffee, some slippers, no robes, and steamer. Oh, I think extra blankets. Okay, so now I'm gonna rate the restaurants from my most favorite restaurant to my least favorite restaurant. So my number one restaurant was Maris, which is a seafood restaurant, and it's located at the area of the property where it's close to the beach and the main pool. And the seafood at this restaurant I thought was really good. So if you like eating ceviche and Mexican food, then this is the place to go. And it's a restaurant where you just order from the menu. It's not a buffet. And the portions are pretty moderate, so you can try a good variety of food. And they also offered breakfast here, and they had some Mexican dishes which I thought were good. So yeah, this was my favorite restaurant on the property. So my second favorite restaurant is Gaucho, and it's a churrascaria or Brazilian steakhouse. They do come around with different kinds of meat. And inside they have a buffet that has a pretty nice selection. And I thought the food here was really good. So, and they had a good variety of Mexican food and other types of food. So I definitely recommend eating here at least once. And I think the line does get long, so you want to try and get here early if you can. One thing that they didn't have that I wish they would have had was the Brazilian cheese bread that's kind of squishy. I think if you're comparing this to other Brazilian steakhouses, you'll probably be a little disappointed, but compared to the other restaurants on the property, I thought this was one of the better ones. My third favorite restaurant on the property is the buffet, which is called Tres Colores, I think, and it's really big. There's lots of seating. You don't need reservations to go. They're open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you can't wear swimsuits inside. They have a good variety of food. I think a lot of it is catered more towards the American palate because I think there are a lot of Americans that come to this resort since it's a Hyatt property. I wish they would have had more Mexican options. They did have tamales, which I thought were good, and I wish they had a better variety of tropical fruit. So, like if I'm comparing it to another resort I went to, Xcaret, the fruit selection here was a little bit disappointing because I was looking for like ripe mangoes and papaya and passion fruit, and they really had mostly, common fruits like melons and grapes and things like that. But I thought this was okay. There's something for everybody. They had a really good selection for kids, and it was at a lower level, so like the counter wasn't as high, so kids can serve themselves. They had lots of different bread and really something for everybody. Next up is not really a full restaurant. It was a espresso and ice cream bar, and they also had some desserts. So you could get different kinds of coffee here. They also had croissant sandwiches, which you could take to go and eat by the pool, and little desserts and pastries. And they also had ice cream. So we stopped here quite a bit, and it had a nice aesthetic, and it wasn't always super crowded, so I really like this place. Right next door to Dolce is Tides, and this restaurant has chicken fingers and burgers and nachos, so it's a good place to get a quick bite if you're by the pool. Okay, so those are my favorite restaurants. Most of the restaurants are located at the front of the property, and I didn't go to all of them. They're not open every single day, so when you get there, you want to check the hours of the different restaurants and make sure that you plan them out because not every restaurant is open every single day. These other restaurants we went to, I didn't really like at all. This one is Fusion. It's sort of the Asian style restaurant, and I was not a fan of the food here at all. We also went to this Mediterranean restaurant, which had like, I don't even know what style food it was, but whatever it wasn't very good. My sister-in-law and my mother-in-law went to the French restaurant called Etoile, which is, they said it was really good. The French restaurant is an adults-only restaurant, so on the day that my in-laws were going to watch the kids and my husband and I were going to go to the restaurant, it ended up being closed, so we didn't get to try it. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the pools and the beach and resort activities. So there are 3 main swimming pools. The first one is closer to the beach, and it's more of an adults pool. I think it's a little bit deeper, and they play loud music, and they have some shows and sometimes live music, I think. The second pool is sort of in the middle of the property, and it's more of a shallow pool that gets less traffic. The nice thing about this area is there's a swim up bar and a grotto with a waterfall that you have to swim under to get to the bar, which is kind of fun. And then there's also a kids pool which has 2 water slides that were really fun. They look like they're really high, but they're not super fast, so everyone can do them. And finally, there's a lazy river that's only for preferred club guests. I didn't see anyone checking wristbands or anything like that, or, names, but it's much less crowded. The water was a little bit less pretty than it was in the other pools, but it was just kind of nice to float along the river, and there were some shaded areas. They do have these inner tubes that you can use, but we ended up bringing our own little hammocks, which was nice because you could be more in the water than you are in the inner tubes. And there's lots of empty beach chairs in this area. So, and they also have a bar where you can get some drinks, and we had fresh watermelon juice, which was really good. So in terms of getting cabanas for the main pool, there are cabanas available all around, but you have to go early in the morning and reserve a cabana, and they're only supposed to be for preferred club guests, and I think they do check, but it's still competitive. It's not like you can just go and reserve it. So you do have to wake up and try to reserve a spot, which is kind of annoying. But they are nice, and then people come around when you're sitting there and ask if you want drinks. So it's kind of worth getting up and getting a cabana maybe 1 or 2 days of the week. The beach is really nice. We didn't go there much because it's not that close to any bathrooms, and my kids just liked playing in the pool. They preferred to be there, so that's where we stayed. But there's a nice white sand beach. There's lots of chairs. We did go in the evening to take some photos, which ended up not turning out very good, but the beach was really pretty. I don't remember there being a lot of seaweed, but I do remember that when we went there, the waves were pretty big, and I don't know if they're like that all the time, but that's just how they are. They were when we were there. I will say that the bottom of the pools can be a little bit rough. It's not very finished, so it's a good idea to bring swim shoes when you come here. In terms of activities, there is a dolphin experience that we ended up not doing. It does cost extra, but I think you go out in the ocean for a day or a half day. There's also a kids club, which we ended up not using. There's a lot of weddings on the property, so it can get loud at times. And there is a little gift shop that has like toiletries and other things you might have forgotten, but everything in this store is super expensive, especially like American candy and chips and snacks. And so just try not to forget anything and make sure you bring everything with you that you might need: sunscreen, bug spray, and all your toiletries. And they do have some little handicrafts that are really cute. The prices are exorbitant though, so I didn't buy anything from here. And I should also mention that they had a local market one day of the week. They just set up little stalls around the property, and they sold little handicrafts that were cute. But I don't know, I didn't really see anything that I wanted to take home, and it was all very expensive. So some things I loved about the resort: I like a lazy river. I like the water slide. I thought the rooms were really spacious, and I like the food at Maris, especially the ceviche. The preferred club perks were nice, and I definitely recommend getting it. It's really relaxing to stay here. There aren't a lot of activities to do, so it's a good place to unwind. It's not like Xcaret where you have so many parks to go to and you don't feel like you have enough time to enjoy the resort, or that's how I felt anyway. It's good for families because there's a kids pool and they have a kids club, and the food is very family friendly. They have things that kids like, or American kids at least. Some things that I think could improve: I wish the food had a greater focus on Mexican cuisine, and I wish they would have had more high-end tropical fruits like mangoes and guava and passion fruit. They did have some passion fruit when I look back at my video, but it wasn't always consistently there. I wish the service was a little bit more polished and consistent. I think they could have done a better job of cleaning the room on a regular basis and providing turn-down service. I also think they could have done a better job of welcoming us when we first arrived at the resort. I felt like we had to wait around a lot, and they didn't really have a lot of greeters or people to help with luggage, and it would have been nice to have sort of a welcome drink or snack. We were lucky that we got preferred club access, so we did get to have some snacks when we arrived. Our room wasn't ready, so it was a nice place to wait. But if you don't have that, then you'd probably just be stuck sitting in the lobby for a long time. And finally, there are mosquitoes here. I don't know if there's, much you can do about it. It's to be expected when you're in a tropical location, but I don't remember this being an issue when I went to Xcaret. So anyway, just a note, there are mosquitoes, so you should bring your insect repellent and be prepared for that. All in all, I would give this about 3 out of 5 stars. Would I come back? Probably not. I did have a good time and I liked it, but there's so many nice resorts in Cancun. And if I did come back, I'd probably opt to try another resort. Or I would just go back to Xcaret, which I think was a lot nicer in comparison. Dreams was really nice, but compared to Xcaret, it didn't feel as high end and the service wasn't quite the same. I do think that this resort caters more to American taste, whereas Xcaret was more international and they had a greater focus on Mexican cuisine and culture, which I really enjoyed. Anyway, let me know in the comments below if you've ever been here and if so, what you thought. And I hope you found this video helpful.